You're listening to a segment from the Slumpbuster Podcast. Find the full episode on Spotify, iTunes, the iHeartRadio app, or your preferred podcast platform. Enjoy. Aaron Rodgers finally made his first statement regarding the Jordan Love pick itself. So we had some strong feelings on draft day about what we thought about Aaron Rodgers' future following the Jordan Love selection, some places we could potentially see him ending up. What Aaron said on the subject was, I think I was more surprised at the pick, based on my own feeling of wanting to play into my 40s and really the realization that it doesn't change the controllables a little bit. Because as much as I feel confident in my abilities and what I can accomplish and what we can accomplish, there are some new factors that are out of my control. And so my sincere desire to start and finish with the same organization may not be a reality at this point. Now, Aaron is kind of a unique personality. He's a little bit of an enigma. It's hard to really read what this guy wants to do. And some stories that came out after draft day is that Coach Matt LaFleur was trying to essentially make a power move message to Aaron Rodgers that we're ready to move on from you. I got my quarterback of the future. And if you don't start playing ball with me a little bit, we're going to start going in that direction. In terms of Aaron Rodgers finishing with the Green Bay Packers, does anyone here want to make an argument for why he will? No takers?
Why he will finish with the Packers?
Why he will finish with the Packers. Anyone think that that's even a remote possibility?
I mean, I think there is a remote possibility, but the likelihood of it, especially with making this type of a draft pick, I probably am leaning maybe like 70% that he'll finish. It all depends on the progression of this Jordan Love kid. Is he going to be as good as Aaron Rodgers was with Aaron Rodgers, learning behind Brett Favre? We don't know. It's just unfortunate. Granted, yes, I'm a 49er fan, but, throwing this out there, Aaron Rodgers is probably one of my favorite quarterbacks to watch play. But like I said off air, the organization did this with you, so you can't be too upset if they do it to you now. So, I mean, it's just business at the end of the day. He's just got to figure out a way to beat the 49ers. I don't know if that happens, but, maybe if he took less money and let the team, build around him, he might actually have a fighting chance against the Niners to advance into the playoffs. But I don't know. I think he might stay for his career. Who knows what that team does?
Well, as a Niners fan myself, let's certainly hope not. Austin, what are you feeling on Aaron Rodgers moving forward?
Man, to me, what they did, that's like, trying to replace me with an understudy. Hey, he's just going to come in, if you tell me you're feeling sick or you can't come over yet, he'll just fill in the podcast. And then it's like, I appreciate it, but at the same time, they should have drafted a receiver. They should have drafted an offensive lineman. They should have drafted somebody that they look like they're making a little effort to help him. And I don't think it was the right pick this year. They could have done this 2 years from now.
I think it's going to come down to which is the stronger of the two forces. Is it Aaron and his competitiveness? Because we know he's a really competitive person, and if he got screwed over by the organization, I could very easily see him like, okay, you know what? I'm going to show you. I'm going to play till I'm 40, and in my next contract, I'm jumping teams. I'm gonna beat you guys, right? So I could even see him going to a division rival just because that's the level of competitor that Aaron Rodgers is. At the same time, where I think there is the slight possibility that he would finish as a Packer is there's been times in recent years where he's just looked done with football, where he's basically just like, you could see the life is sort of drained out of him, and the way he talks, like, the season didn't go the way that I wanted it to. It's whatever. Like, he just, you can see it in his face in his interviews. You can hear it in his voice. So I think if he's at the point where he's like, you know what, like, I really just don't need this anymore. Like, I've made my money. I won my Super Bowl, right? Everybody still considers me one of the best quarterbacks ever, even if I wasn't as successful in the rings department as some of these other quarterbacks. So if he says like, hey, I'm just ready to call it quits after this contract, because there's no way he's getting traded, I don't think. That's the only way I see him finishing up as a Packer.
I'd agree with that one.
Personally, myself, and I made this bold hot take before, so I'll reiterate it once again. Aaron Rodgers will be playing in either LA or Las Vegas in the 2021 season. You can write that one in stone for me. If it's a bold take exposed, I'll eat that out. But that's Juju, Talk Sports.
Wow.
Add that to my resume.
Wow. So you think A-Rod is out after this year?
I do. I really have like a strong feeling that he will not be the Green Bay Packers starting quarterback in the 2021 season. Now,
do you think he just whines and complains and mopes and groans and doesn't play well and demands a trade? Or like how do you think it's going to shake out?
Well, the way I see it is it could go in a couple different ways. So Jordan Love We know that he has a lot of talent. He has a lot of the elite skills that NFL head coaches are looking for, and certainly Matt LaFleur, I'm sure, was looking for when he drafted him. If Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love develop some sort of connection over practice, training camps, basically this entire season leading into next year's team formulation, draft, all that kind of stuff, then the Packers will have to look at their team and look at other teams and say to themselves, well, if we trade Aaron now, what can we get for him? If Aaron has a good season, you could get a lot for him. You could get several first-round picks for him. If Aaron has a bad season and is looking more like he's done, then you have to ask yourself, maybe this is just our time to move on from him. It would be hard for them to release him, not get any kind of value from him, but they could still get some return on their investment there.
So they're going to Brett Favre him. You think they're going to Brett Favre him?
I just think that with how quick things move in our society today, like look how quick that Kyrie trade happened with the Celtics a couple years ago. It was like Kyrie and LeBron had one offhanded kind of like exchange, and suddenly a couple months later, he's a Celtic. I think over the course of a year, because you know what's going to happen in the mainstream media, this narrative is going to be formed. And Aaron Rodgers, given his personality, I don't think it's going to go that well. And I think he's going to actually want out of this situation as time goes on. So it's going to be a mix of Aaron. It's going to be a mix of the organization. Matt LaFleur is going to have a say in things. And I think that a quarterback needy team out there is going to jump at the opportunity to get a guy like Aaron Rodgers in the back end of his career.
And you say you got what, Chargers or the Raiders?
Chargers, Rams, or Raiders are three teams that I kind of have earmarked as potential locations.
Really? So you just think the Rams are just going to give up on Jared Goff like that?
Well, here's the thing. If you're Sean McVay and you're in the situation where you were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago and Jared Goff 2 straight years has let you down, you're going to think to yourself, I'm a good enough head coach. Les Snead, the Rams organization, they think that Sean McVay is a good enough head coach. If they don't think that Jared Goff is a good enough quarterback to elevate them over the Niners, over the Seahawks, or even the Cardinals who are on the come up, then they're going to look at the next best quarterback option that they can get. And I think it's more likely for a team in that position to be able to go after a highly touted free agent and or trade target than it is for them to be able to draft one of these top-end prospects, especially because the clock will start ticking on Sean McVay if he doesn't return to the playoffs this year.
I could see the Raider thing, but I don't know, man. These teams have they got a huge investment in Jared Goff, man. I mean, he was a number 1 draft pick. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess you're in that what have you done for me lately. I could totally see the Raider thing. I could totally see John Gruden. He loves Aaron Rodgers. I could totally see that. The Chargers, I could totally see them just investing in Herbert and his progression. So I might go with you on the Raider thing. You kind of sold me on that Raider thing. I could see the organization, Brett Favre, but I don't know. I feel like A-Rod still has a good couple of years, high-level years left in him. And, you might be onto something. Maybe he balls out this year and they trade him and get something for him. Who knows?